programs are available through some of the work we're doing, and then I believe Tina Davis will join us to talk a little bit about programs here that are available at the Technology Center. And if any of this is of interest, if you have any ideas, I think what we're really hoping to say is this is just the beginning. We're going to be doing quite a bit more over the next year, and so I want to take a step back and talk about another community that we work with a lot, and this is Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And Pine Bluff is really interesting to me because at one time they were considered the fastest growing city in Arkansas. They were one of the major economic hubs of the Mississippi Delta, and they were a serious economic powerhouse, through much of the 20th century. But things started to change in Pine Bluff quite a bit starting in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. And Pine Bluff today went from about a population of close to 70,000 to a population under 50,000, and they keep declining in population. They were a manufacturing hub, they were a commercial hub, they were an ag, science and business hub. And really where they are today and where they're pursuing an economic strategy is in the digital economy. And like a lot of small towns in America, we've realized that, where we embrace things like manufacturing and agriculture and other forms of technology in the past, things are changing pretty quickly. And if we don't hop on board and give our workforce new skills, if we don't stay ahead of current trends, the risk is really out there that as a community, we may not grow in the way we want to. We may not stay ahead of the curve. And that's not to scare anyone, but it's to say the stakes here are high, and where this is absolutely matters for what we're trying to do. And I don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but here at the Ada Jobs Foundation, we focus on economic development. And this is a field with way too many acronyms, but the basics that we want everyone to know is economic development is all about ensuring that we have a resilient economy that can go forward into the future. It's about making sure that we have an economic base that can support the way of life and the quality of life for everyone here in our community. And that's really what we're trying to do with this. This is an economic development venture, and we're partnering with a lot of education providers, workforce systems, things of that nature. But the ultimate goal at the end of the day is to give everyone here a quality of life that is something that is good for our local residents, and it's something that we can build and continue on into the future. And I'm going to throw out a lot of stats, but the really big thing that we want to touch on is the digital economy is a fast-growing sector of the U.S. economy. And so from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the BEA, in a report they did 2 years ago, they cited that the digital economy grew 4.3 times faster than the entire U.S. economy from 1997 to 2017. And this isn't too hard to grasp if you really think about it. The rise of tech companies have been huge. The rise of companies engaged with the tech sector have been huge. But one of the things we're really in tune with, and one of the things we're really worried about is where is this growth happening? Because we would argue that it hasn't been distributed equally across the country, and that certain cities and communities have really benefited from this rise in tech, in the digital economy and tech work, and some haven't been able to get on the train. And so one of the things we're really trying to do here is to figure out how do we connect a community like Ada or a county like Pontotoc County with the opportunity that's out there and with this growth that's happening. We know in the state that digital jobs have a high economic impact. We always assume manufacturing jobs are good quality, high paying jobs, and they are. But digital jobs pay an order of magnitude more typically than your average manufacturing sector job. The skills are highly in demand, and they tend to be higher paid. And so this is really just a look at, the average annual wage in Oklahoma for manufacturing was just right around $60,000 in 2019. For software publishers, the average wage was almost 150% more, or 150% of that wage at $82,000. And we know here in our local region, when we count the counties of Seminole, Garvin, Cole, Johnston, Murray, the average, the mean wage that we're looking at is $65,000. Probably hard to read this graph, but the starting or entry-level wage is $35,000, and that's just here right outside the metro area. And I think if you look around at open jobs, there are somewhere between 4 to 8 jobs for IT support specialists posted. They are all starting at $35,000, $40,000, $45,000 in our Oklahoma and North Texas region. And where we look at someone with, a level of experience in our region for this kind of work, it's right under $80,000. So this is a good job that is well above our county average wage of about $45,000. It's right on track for where we want to be for what we call a quality job. And we're going to touch on this a lot more, but we wanted to give everyone a portrait of, what's a rural tech, who is a rural tech worker? What do they look like? And so in Taos, we have Adonis. He is a program manager for Microsoft, and what's really cool about Adonis is he grew up in Taos Pueblo. He is a Native American resident that grew up as a member of a Pueblo tribe. And he left and worked for Microsoft in Seattle and built a career working in the Pacific Northwest. And when he had an opportunity to work remotely back in his home community, in Taos, he jumped on it, and he's been able to reconnect with his community. He's been able to reconnect with his family, and I think it goes to show that the skills that he has and the experience that he has are valuable enough where he can do this job from anywhere. But he's made a decision to live in a town that's even smaller than Ada, as it turns out. We also look at someone like Erin Neer, who is in Durango, Colorado, and she is the founder of a tech startup named MuniRevs. Had a long experience working in municipal finance, and she wanted to connect that with a software as a service company. And so she had an opportunity to work with an accelerator in Durango, Colorado, and build this out. But certainly Durango is right around the same size as Ada, about 17,000 people. And she's been able to build and grow her company and find the support that she needs there. So, we usually assume the stereotype is that someone that works in tech or someone in the digital economy lives on the coast. We talk about Silicon Valley, we talk about big urban areas, but there are tech workers in rural areas, and I think that's an important thing that we need to keep saying and really need to keep pointing out. We have a digital workforce initiative, and it's really focused on 3 areas. Tonight, we're talking about career awareness. We want people to understand that there are opportunities and career pathways in our community for this job. We're also here to support digital skilling and programs that can support people gaining skills, and we'll talk a little bit about these programs later on. And then finally, we want to make connections with employers, both local and national employers, so that the people that are aware of these jobs and gain the skilling have an opportunity to connect with people that want to hire them on the other end and pay them a healthy wage. And we've also identified that what we're going to talk about a little bit later is a career as an IT support specialist. But that's just the beginning. It's a foundation for a career in technology that can branch out into many different career paths. And so when we talk about this, we think about, if someone's interested in pursuing IT or networking, they can work as a system administrator, or they can work to manage something like a data center. But maybe someone wants to be a software developer, app developer. Maybe they want to do front-end web design. That's a really great career pathway as well. And on the data side, you can be a database administrator, or maybe you are a marketing analyst. All these pathways are open, and having the foundation of an IT support specialist background is excellent, because what's really cool, and we'll talk about this, is it doesn't require a college degree to get going. As we've seen the wages opening up, start at $35,000, $40,000, and they only go up from there. And from there, with those skills, you can understand the fundamentals of what you need to do software development, or you can understand, how to use this to, manipulate and work with large data sets. But it's going to give you that really foundational knowledge. And so that's the big takeaway. And I'm not going to talk too much longer about this, but we want everyone to know, the big thing is you can have a career in tech in a rural community, and you can have an opportunity to gain skills and development that can set you on a career ladder that can go in many, many different ways and give you skills that you could use for the rest of your life. And we know that people working in tech have rich and nice lives, and they don't need to leave for a coastal community, and they don't need to leave and give up what they have here in a rural town, which I think is really unique and really important. So we will keep making this message. We will find new ways of carrying out this message. But as an economic development strategy, we feel like this is really sound, and it's something that a lot of rural communities aren't talking about too much at the moment, but we hope that'll change. And we want to switch gears a little bit and get everyone inspired and show you what does a career in tech actually look like at Ada. So Dia's going to come and introduce our speaker, and I don't want to steal her thunder, but I'll have Dia come up.
super excited for the next part of our agenda because we actually have a successful local tech professional who's be talking to us about his experience. So Quinton started with LegalShield, but before I introduce Quinton, I see some other friends from LegalShield. So Matt Layton's the vice president for their data analytics, and Biddy also works on that team. So thanks for coming. And those are also great examples of successful tech professionals here in Ada. So with that, Quinton, thanks so much for being here today. And so Quinton is the Senior Director of Lawyer Services, Technology, Communication, and Training at LegalShield. He started his career at LegalShield in 2010 on the tech support lines, answering tech support questions for LegalShield associates. From there, he continued his career in technology with LegalShield when he was promoted to AS leader and led the project of building an online back office for LegalShield through Drupal. Most recently, Quinton has used his knowledge in technology to create online newsletters, help lead in website creation, as well as website application development. And in connecting with Quinton, Matt mentioned that he's a go-getter, and his ability to adapt to the fast-paced environment of digital technology has helped us grow at LegalShield and to be a successful and great asset for LegalShield. So with that, Quinton, thanks so much for joining, and I hand it over to you.
So the legitimacy of the future in tech is that not just some, but probably almost every position will have some way, shape, or form that technology will be involved. My dad works at Flexingate, which is manufacturing, but every day he logs parts onto a computer. He has to know the codes that has to be inputted. He has to know the timing, the temperature. So he has to deal at 60 years old with technology while then going and taking bumpers from an assembly line and back. And so, when I started at LegalShield in 2010, programs like what the Technology Center is offering, what the Jobs Foundation is offering, didn't exist. You either went to eCentral, or you went to OU, or a four-year college and got your degree in IT, or you didn't work in tech. And so this day and age, the fact that you can take a course here at the Technology Center and begin a career in tech support is phenomenal. And so I started at LegalShield in 2010, like Gia said, on the phones. And so I honestly answered phone calls and taught people how to log into their email, how to unlock it, how to log into their back office, and just troubleshooting, different browsers, different things like that. And you would think that, well, that's pretty menial, it's not a lot. But once you begin to learn technology and understand the business and the systems and the platforms that work, things actually really begin to open up to you. You actually begin to understand the way a business or a market works, and you can begin to dictate what kind of happens. You become educated, and when you become educated, then you're able to provide more to your employer. For me, what really kind of started everything was I'm really intrigued by the way things work, how they come apart and how they go back together. And so being on the phones for a year, I moved over into an AS leader position. We were building a brand new back office, which if you've ever been in a multi-level marketing company or really kind of any organization, there's a back office where you get resources and videos and training and everything like that. And so knowing how the system worked and understanding and doing all of this, I was able to go to Kansas City and work with a company in Drupal. And so I did this without an IT degree, but because I had understood tech support and I knew the foundation of the business and where we were going with technology, I was able to work with them and assume this position of being the maintenance and owner of this massive website that over 250,000 people access at least once a year. And so this is coding, it's using HTML, CSS, and a lot of that is extremely tricky, but when really good people teach you how to do it and you already understand the basic foundations of how a website should work and things like that, then you pick it up pretty quick. And a lot of people are intimidated by technology, like, I don't know how to code. To be honest, there are website builders out right now that are making coding obsolete in some cases, where like you have Drupal, you have Webflow, things like that, where you just drag and drop, and HubSpot does it really well, and Wix, where they'll create the website for you. You just pick where to go and what to do. And so I actually moved on from there and then began to design a digital atmosphere of communication. So designing online newsletters. How many of you guys notice like the Ada News rarely comes in a physical form anymore, right? Even technology has shifted the way our community speaks to us. About the only kind of big pieces of mail you get is during campaign season, right? All the politicians send everything out. But other than that, even our trash companies, our electric companies, how about the state of Oklahoma with the tag office? Saying last year, we'll no longer send physical copies. You need to go to our website and get your tag updated. So even the state of Oklahoma is saying, we're gonna utilize technology to further advance us, so we don't have to do the mundane things and waste time of sending paper. And so that's what we did at LegalShield. We designed a digital newsletter. We got rid of a lot of our physical copies of stuff, and people were terrified. Like, honestly, it's like, what is this person gonna do if they don't get a piece of paper in the mail? Well, they're gonna go on their computer and they're gonna read it a lot faster and probably save it, and it's not gonna wind up in the trash because they can put it in the email folder or it's on our website permanently until we change it. And then in my current role, it's probably my most excited role, is that I get to watch a company legitimately transform an industry that is one of the oldest industries to exist in America. If you've seen the play Hamilton, which came out last year on Disney Plus, was phenomenal. Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr were two of the first attorneys in the new United States. But our legal system existed before our country did because we adopted it from other countries. And so LegalShield is using technology to take ordinary people in rural communities and big cities and attach them or get them in contact with attorneys in major cities. We have a law firm in LA that will talk to somebody in a small town in California, and you can only do that with technology and getting them together. And so working on that, what we're trying to do is develop technology and use it to empower our attorneys to know more about our members, to be more informed about our community. The only way you know more about your community is through data analysis, which again is technology, which is computers running data and understanding. And I only got the chance to do this by honestly starting in an IT support job and learning and knowing tech support and moving up. So when people say tech support, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know that I want to answer phones and help people. Well, that's the basis. In any job, you learn the basics of what you're doing. Even if you get a medical degree, you still get to go learn from a doctor for 2 or 3 years before they ever trust you working on anyone else. And so that's the same with technology. One question Dia asked me was resources. And what I think, and I'm passionate about this, is because like I said, in 2010, something like this didn't exist. You maybe had Khan Academy was starting to kind of be birthed. He didn't really know what he wanted to do. Udemy was kind of coming out with some stuff, but it was probably a couple $100 to log in and pay. And LinkedIn Learning didn't exist yet. Now there's all kinds of online forums and ways to learn and to do things, which are phenomenal. But the fact that we're offering it here in our community will transform it. A lot of people don't realize at LegalShield, any given day, we only have 3 attorneys in the whole building. And they don't code or do anything. They just make sure things run. What we have are project managers, IT tech support. We have phone consultants. We have developers working to do what they referenced earlier, SaaS, software as a service, beginning to move into the new age of digital and tech. And so I'll wrap up with the fact that technology honestly has afforded me, someone who dropped out of college because I started a family, the ability to move up and become a senior director in 10 years because I grasped it. I understood the direction the company was going, and I was just honestly hungry to get in there. So Dia said, what's one of the things you would just tell somebody if they're interested? Like, just get started. Take the course and learn something. It's actually extremely intriguing to learn how to fix something on your own. A lot of people just go to Google, like how do I do this? And they'll Google. That's tech support. I mean, Google is providing tech support for 95% of the world. And so I would just encourage anybody who's interested, is just get started. Do research on the programs they're gonna talk about and offer today, and see what it's like. I mean, it's not a 4-year commitment, the programs they're offering, and sometimes you get started and you don't have to stay in a tech support position. I moved from tech support to project manager to now a platform lead, to where I'm not really programming or developing, I'm just telling what to do and where to go, and developers listen. And so there's so many avenues that getting into tech support offers people, that it's an entry level and an open door into the way that all companies and all industries eventually will have to move. We were talking, Matt and Mitty and I were before, you're pretty much gonna have to have a tech support degree or program to even learn how to drive a car in 10 or 15 years. You're gonna have to know how to operate a digital screen to say, I wanna go to Oklahoma City, because that's the way the world's moving. So, thanks for letting me speak today. I hope it was encouraging, but I would just suggest to sign up and to try it out and to research what works for you and what you're looking for, because tech support is just the open door to go to further in your career in technology.
Great, we have a few more minutes. Do you have any questions for Quintin?
What's the most fun project you've worked on?
The funnest is probably, we developed an online leadership show, and so we had to find the vendor that could host it, and our CEO gave us the task of finding someone that had a mobile app. And so YouTube was out, LinkedIn was out, so we had to research, discuss, and even in tech, you kind of get into contracts and what's affordable, what you can do. And so we actually went with live stream before they were really known, and developed a weekly leadership show that our quality increased, but we were able to watch it connect more people because of a mobile app. And we were one of the first multi-level marketing companies to use that technology to put a weekly show on a phone, accessible in real time. So that was probably one of the funnest ones.
Oh, that's awesome. Any other questions?
So talk a little bit about the mindset you were talking about, right? So you started out kind of tech support, answering telephone calls, phones, and Salesforce. You grasped it right away. You knew what you needed to know. You were helping people all day, every day. What was the mindset of what do I do next and when, and how do I get there, right? Because a lot of times folks aren't going to come and pick the best people off the tech support line to go do something else because you're needed right there. So how do you build that in yourself to know when you fulfilled it all, I want something new, I'm going to go do this?
Naturally, I'm a nosy person, so I'm an only child, so I want to know everything that's going on. And so I just would ask questions. When leaders would come out of meetings, I would just say, hey, is there anything I should be researching or just looking up? Can I help you do research or just figure something out? And a lot of times that would get you into meetings where they're like, yeah, if you'll look this up, that will help me out. And so, and honestly, just never being satisfied. I would go home and I knew LegalShield's platforms, but I would go research other platforms, other apps, other companies, other multi-level marketing. Like, what were they doing? What did they look like? Competitive analysis. What are they doing better than what we can do or what we are doing? And honestly, just keep asking, what can I do? How can I help? And paying attention to technology in other areas, because yes, we're rural, but what the West Coast or East Coast does is eventually going to come to the middle of the nation. And so wanting to grasp what they're doing over there and saying, how can we implement this and be ahead of the curve instead of one of the last companies in Oklahoma to do it.
So do you see a potential in Ada for people to be able to work from their homes at tech companies all over the United States, or also the world, but to start with the United States?
Yeah, absolutely. We already have that. So during COVID, unfortunately, a lot of companies shut down. We were able to send everybody home and continue to keep our law firms operating because of technology. We didn't drop a single membership call because we had a phone system that was digital that we built. And we were prepared so attorneys could close their office and still connect with our members. Our call support, or our customer service support representatives could go home with the technology that we've built and partnered with and answer phone calls from their couch. And we never lost service, we never lost, actually, I think our NPS increased, our satisfaction went up, because one, our employees were happy because they were at home and not in the office. But yes, and I think it's gonna be a common trend where people get hired and they go in the office once a month, or maybe once a quarter, and they honestly work remotely, because platforms like Zoom and Microsoft Teams allow us to connect without ever being in a brick and mortar.
Do you think you're gonna stay that way?
I
Without
think-
going back to the office?
I think it's up to the company. For LegalShield, it works for us right now. Now, a lot of us are back in office because we want to be. Like me, I'm more productive in office. Dia asked me, so how long did you stay at home in COVID? I was like 2 weeks, and I was back in office, because it's hard with the wife and kids and everything going on to not want to be in office. But I think it depends. Some startups can't afford a brick and mortar office, so they all live in homes or apartments. Why not connect via Zoom and work from their place of residence? We're kind of different because we're established, we're not going anywhere. I mean, we're extremely ready to hold anything or move forward. But I think it will be a trend where we will have more and more companies that will not have a home office. They'll have staff that are spread out all across the nation and even the world. We work with developers in South America and in Europe because their talent is what we needed, and technology allowed us to connect with them even over the language barrier. We could connect with them and they could develop things that we couldn't.
Thank you.
I had one other quick one. So talk about kind of the skills that came from the skills, right? So you started kind of, again, tech support, answering telephone calls. You made a really interesting comment where you said you went from that and now you're advising and directing the engineers to build the new communications platform for the provider law firms. Talk about how you made that switch from like frontline tech worker to building yourself up into a position where you're basically managing those types of positions.
That came honestly with just the formation of project management coming into kind of the tech world. Again, project managers will come in and will be sometimes the most crucial member of the IT team because they keep everything flowing and everybody moving. But going from tech support to directing a platform is honestly knowing the business and knowing the structures. Like, we were looking at a form the other day and it had Internet Explorer, and we started laughing, like, do we honestly still use Internet Explorer? Well, some people do. Some people don't know Microsoft has antiquated it, and since we don't work on this anymore. But even to that, knowing that Microsoft, Internet Explorer and Safari, Apple and Microsoft are not browser companies.
Right.
Google and Firefox are, hence why they're better. And so when you understand even outside technology and other companies that can help, I just built that kind of knowledge base, and I understood the way if I can have someone, when I fly into South Carolina, pick me up via car, and I never have to call or hail a taxi, then I should be able to call my law firm in Tulsa by hitting a button on an app, because I can call a car to come pick me up, which is a physical action. This is a service. So just building upon it. I don't know if I answered the question, but it's just researching and knowing where to go. And honestly, the biggest form of advice is asking questions of your leaders, what they're thinking, and picking their brain, because more times than not, a leader will have an idea, but not the time to research. So if you research for them and do the work, then you're gonna learn as well. And it may be the wrong or not the right route, but you learn not to go that way later when you go to do something. And a lot of times, we'll do that at LegalShield, where we'll say, well, we've tried that and it just didn't work. Now, sometimes it's like, well, now we can do it. Sometimes it's like, we found out this, and this, so you're knowledgeable to steer the company away from making a bad purchase or decision in technology.
From what you've said today, looks to me like your success is built on your inquisitive nature and your ability to communicate.
Pretty much, yeah, I'm just nosing.
Well, and I think that's absolutely the point, right? But it was grounded in a start and learning
Absolutely.
technical support skills, and because he also developed those other skills, now he's moved himself into a
Absolutely.
management position.
Right, because I started with a company that had to offer tech support because we were international. When I started, we were already with Canada, we had Canada based, and so we already had to learn tech. So we were looking for tech support people way before anyone else was, and without degrees. We just needed boots on the ground that could learn and help basic tech support. There are more and more companies now that are looking for that, and it's you can be inquisitive, but honestly, if you show up and you know what you're doing, you'll move up, because technology is kind of hard and complicated, but also extremely simple and easy as well. It's a machine that is told to do this one thing, and if it doesn't, then it's broken. If it does, then it's working, and you don't have to worry about it. But I think one big thing I would suggest too is with people, like you were talking about, just being inquisitive and working out like I get stuff done, I want to move up, I have a drive to be something and somebody, is that even if people don't, you eventually get into a place where you find a passion for the business or the technology. And we have 40, 50-year-old people that got on the phone lines that now are running projects because they fell in love with the technology or the mission behind what the technology was going to accomplish. And they've learned and pressed in to learn that so they can accomplish some of their goals.
Alright, any other questions? Okay, well, Quintin, thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time today, really
Thank you.
appreciate it. I'm sure if anybody wants to follow up with you,
Yeah.
you can share your email, so.
Absolutely.
Alright, thank you. Okay, is this, okay, Jim? Alright, well, just kind of based on our topic for today, recently the Ada Jobs Foundation has partnered with the Center on Rural Innovation and a company called Generation USA to provide a program which is for IT support specialists, as we talked about how important this role is as a foundation for a career in tech. And what this is, it's a 12-week, fully online, Monday to Friday program that begins July 7th. And it's kind of cool because this is Generation USA's first time trying this kind of program in a rural community. They've done it in like Atlanta, Miami, Dallas before, but they were like, we want to provide more of these digital skills in smaller communities and cities. So we are excited that Ada was selected amongst a lot of other options they probably had, but we have 4 communities that we are working with together as a cohort. So any student who goes through this program will be working kind of in that cohort model with students from across the nation. And again, another cool part about this program is that in addition to the curriculum and the technical skills that you get, Generation USA is going to work really hard on the soft skills. As you can imagine, being an IT support specialist, talking to people on the phone, different people on the phone, you need that kind of soft skills. And on the other end, Ada Jobs Foundation, the Center on Rural Innovation, and Generation USA is working to find jobs on the other end of after people graduate from these programs. So whether it's tech companies nationally that have remote positions or local companies here in Ada, we are working really hard to find these openings. So once a student graduates through the program, we can kind of help them get into an internship or a full-time position. So some more details about this program, and we have some flyers on the table if you want some more information, the link, and there's a QR code as well. But usually this program costs about $3,000. You receive a CompTIA certification through this program, and the total cost of this program is $3,000. But thanks to this partnership, we are offering this program for free for anybody who's a resident of Pontotoc County, Seminole, Cole, Garvin, and Johnson. So that's a really cool thing. You're getting this program for free. Enrollees must be over 18 years of age with a high school diploma to qualify. And another cool thing is that the $700 stipend available for anybody who would like to apply for that. There's some eligibility requirements, but it's pretty flexible, so just let us know and we will kind of help you go down that path. Also, since it's a fully online program, you have to have a computer, a laptop, and internet access, and we are really grateful that the communities come together to provide help with that as well. We have PTC that's helping with computer and internet and space if you need to come here and study. The Ada Library and ECU libraries are also available. There's a flyer on there talking about the application process. There's the first step for registration, and then kind of proving the eligibility with the how old are you and if you've had a high school diploma. And then there's actually the actual application process and interview and then review and acceptance. So it is maybe a little bit of a lengthy process, but again, the Generation USA team, us here and the Corey team are there to help throughout the journey. The application deadline is actually tomorrow, but we are really going to work with you if you need some more time. Anytime before July 7th when the program starts, you get your application in, but you probably just want to get started as soon as possible. So with that, that's kind of the overview of this program, and again, a very cool opportunity, but we understand that, you know, a 12-week program, 9 to 5, may be hard for some people, so we're going to talk about some other options that we have here locally if you're wanting to take like a more full-time, slow-paced program. But can I answer any questions before we move on to that part of the agenda?
What happens if they start the program and then it doesn't meet their need, or they're overwhelmed with the, you know, the strict schedule of it, and they back out any time with no monetary consequence, or will they owe if they back out? Or?
As far as the application goes, as far as the program goes, I believe not. With the $700 stipend, I'm not sure if there's, Jim, do you know that?
I'm not sure about the stipend. As far as we understand about the program, I believe students are free to begin and leave the program, you know, as needed. There's no financial commitment to participate.
It just might be worth looking into the $700 one if that's something related to graduation. Again, that was just an overview, and we have all the links and QR codes and the flyers, so definitely follow up if you have any questions. We would love to see more people from, you know, our area participate and take advantage of that. So with that, as I mentioned, we're here at PTC today, and thank you so much, Jim and Jenny and Tina, for hosting this event here today. But so we have a full-time program at PTC as well for the IT support specialist, and this is not a 12-week accelerated program, so you actually have some time to, you know, go through it. But I'd like to invite Tina Davis to speak a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm Tina Davis, and I'm the IT teacher here at PTC. They've been putting up with me for a year, but I think this is a fantastic program. What a gift to our community to be able to have something like this. And CompTIA is a big deal. It's the industry standard. They all look for those. What I'm here to do is to complement maybe this program if it's not for you. If the 8 hours a day for 12 weeks is too intense. I currently have students getting these exact same certifications, just at a slower rate. I have one adult student now who comes from 8 to 11, goes to work, you know, he maintains his job and is still able to come to class. So just as an alternative, if this didn't fit your lifestyle, then, you know, we have that. We're offering those certifications. We're lucky to be an authorized third port testing site, so they walk right next door from my classroom over to test when they're ready. So the other benefit we have is that we can do a lot of hands-on things in the classroom, and that's nice. And we did do a lot of soft skills and resume work, and because after you get the certifications, that's great, but then it's time to sell yourself. And you have to go out there and you know, present yourself and sell yourself if you're going to get the job. But I love the fact that they are reaching out to possible employment for their students. That is something I'd love to connect with you more about, actually. But it's all about networking. Anymore, it's all about networking. I've been trying since last November to get my foot in the door with the film industry that's moved all into Oklahoma City. They changed the Cox Convention Center into a sound stage, actually 5 sound stages in one area. And they expect 5,000 jobs, and that's not only for artists and actors, and IT runs they're the behind the scenes running the show kind of people, and so it's jobs for those people too, not just the graphic designers and the video editors. It's for, you know, techs too. So I just wanted to come and meet you and maybe offer a compliment to the program that they're offering, because I think it's wonderful. If you have a chance to participate, then I absolutely think it's a wonderful deal. And if not, then we're here and ready to take you onto the next level if that's what you'd like to do. So thank you for having me, and I appreciate it.
So one of the benefits of PTC is you don't have to be 18.
Right. I have high school students as well as adult students. And one of the things I'm finding, which is what I kind of wanted to talk about when I heard that you were so well were connecting with employers, is I have very able high school students that their junior year they go through what we consider the PC Tech program. And then then the next year they would be considered desktop tech. If you come in as an adult, it technically is desktop tech, but you still go through that PC Tech curriculum. And then, but what I'm noticing is I could have I have a student now that got both CompTIA 1001, 1002 this year, so he'll go on to network next year. But applying for jobs, he needs experience. I need internships for these younger kids so that they can not be discouraged. These are big certifications. It's so important, but they've also got to have a little experience under their belt too to be taken seriously, especially when you're 18. So I'd love to touch base with you guys about that a little later. But yep, I have all from juniors to my oldest students 30. So we've got all kinds. Anybody else have a question?
Yeah, do you have any examples of maybe like, you know, an adult who made a career change or started this kind of program?
Well, I'll use Ben as my example, who I was currently talking about. I've never seen a more dedicated person. He works at the Chickasaw Travel Stop from, I think, 11 to 7 in the morning. He was in my class every day by 7:50 and to do the work, and then, you know, just going every day. But you have people, he's 30. He's been doing this for a long time and thinking, you know what, I'm more than the cashier at the travel stop. And he absolutely is. He's brilliant. And then, you know, once you do get a couple of those certifications under your belt, you start to get a little more confidence in yourself. And that's been so good to see with him. And like I was saying, network is everything. I just had my friend Chad Baltimore called last week and said, do you have anybody that's just graduated out of your program? And I said, I don't have a graduate, but I have someone who's halfway through. Are you looking for full-time, or would you consider that? And he only called me because he knows me and knows I'm affiliated out here. So it's his trust in me that I'm telling him he's a good employee. And, you know, after we talked, he said, well, let me interview him and let's see. I got called yesterday from Kathy Harris, who's now working out there, who happened to work for my husband for 20 years. And she was like, Tina, we have this Ben, what do you say? And that's how it works, just like that. You know, somebody knows somebody who knows somebody, and before you know it. So I'm hoping this really works out for him. But that will be, I'm new out here. This has been my first year. But that'll be my first major connection if he gets that job. So I'm hanging on. I've told him, the second you hear, can I please know? Please pass it on. It's a great industry, and it's certainly moving fast. And when I had gone to some workshops in Oklahoma City with the whole film industry, they're expecting 5,000 jobs to come out of that, the new Cox Center. That's just the Cox Center. That's not even talking about all the other little companies that'll be formed around that. That's huge. That's huge for Oklahomans. And if we can get our people, you know, that we've just trained to go straight on into work, I think that's just gold.
If there are any other questions, please hang out, please let us know. So, we appreciate everyone's time here, and really appreciate PTC for hosting us on this. I think, again, we see this as a beginning. We're going to keep talking about career awareness, not just in technology, but in other careers that we think are really, really great opportunities. You know, with the Ada Jobs Foundation, you know, our whole mission is quality jobs, and I think this is absolutely a quality job and a great place to start. We have put this on Facebook Live. If you know anyone that says, oh man, I'd love to see this, but I couldn't make it, well, we're recording that. We'll have that available. We'll send a follow-up email to everyone that attended, so you can share that link or that video with anyone that you think might be interested in this. And if anyone's interested in this 12-week program, Generation USA, you can contact us directly. We will give you any information you need and get you signed up. If you know of anyone that may want to take a full-time program here at PTC, we will absolutely connect you, or you can certainly connect here with the folks here at PTC. But in general, we will keep working on trying to bring more opportunities and more chances for local people to gain these skills and to work in these fields. And again, it's all about having a great quality of life in Ada, and if you can have a job that pays